So welcome to this introduction and overview of the CyberWise course. My name is Jonathan Ratner. My wife Hannah and I started this a number of years back, and in fact, it's a magic number. We've had cohorts. It used to be once a year, now it's twice a year. So this is actually the 10th group, the 10th cohort. So you know that Asiri Kodesh Hashem, for us, that we've already trained a few hundred people. We have a lot of people working in the field, both in America and in Israel. And so it's sort of, I'll use the Yiddish expression, a pelle de kazach. It's sort of a wondrous thing that we are able to take people who have no background necessarily in computers, but through intense study over the course of a year, are able to become professionals in this industry and really get to work and do stuff. And we have people who today are in advanced positions in the field. We have a number of people who have bought houses because they're earning more money. So that's really satisfying for us that we've helped people move on their way in terms of financial security for their families. So let me tell you how we got here. We run something called Somet Yu'utz V'Limudim. It's an Israeli nonprofit organization, which we founded in 2009 already. My wife's a career counselor. I have a master's in management from Boston University. I worked in managing funds and startups. I've been around the block a lot. I'm older than I look. I'll give you a hint. I completed a triathlon recently, and I'm in the 55 and over age group. So we started trying to help in the Haredi community people to, it's a wonderful community. There's this teeny tiny issue that doesn't get quite enough attention. It's called Parnasa. And so we wanted to give more attention to that by teaching people, A, what's out there, what are their options, and B, who they themselves are. What are their koiches and nefesh? What do they have inside? And the truth is, every person has a treasure inside. If you find your inner treasure and you apply it to something that you're talented in, so then the sky's the limit. You can accomplish great things. And so we have developed a number of professional training programs over the years, but recently, over the past 6 years, we've been focused on cybersecurity. There's an international shortage of professionals in the cybersecurity industry in the millions, like 2.3 million worldwide. And so, so there's this economic opportunity to enter this field. So everybody who's here has undergone some sort of screening. We gave you a logic test, or you have some training, whatever. And so now we're ready to begin the journey together. Again, we're from the community. We know the needs of the community and how this works. And again, I myself express, sort of wonder and amazement that it works, but it does, because we've been doing it a long time, and you're the 10th group. I encourage you to look at our Cyber Stars videos. If you just go on YouTube and do CyberWise Cyber Stars, you'll get a number of videos. It's also on our website, our CyberWise course website. We have a number of graduates telling about what they do today and how they got here. And there'll be times in the course where you'll be frustrated or maybe even desperate or doubting, can I really do this? And so it's good to watch some of those videos, because those people also felt that, and they cried and didn't know, oh, hey, can I really do this? But you really can. Our value proposition is our deep understanding and respect for people. We care about individuals and our valuable connections to industry. I worked in the cybersecurity industry. I'm going to share with you shortly what exactly I did, the great company that I worked for. But neither my wife nor myself are technical. We're not like bits and bytes and ones and zeros. We're people. We're more into psychology and training and stuff like that. So I'm telling you already now, don't ask me technical questions, okay? Because I don't know the answer. So we have great faculty of very technical people who are also wonderful, have wonderful personalities, but they're super technical and we're not. So here it is. I was working with an Israeli startup in biometrics. They had a technology that could read your face and hear your voice and whatever else on your smartphone before you would take money out of the ATM. It would make sure it was really you, an app on your smartphone. And Citibank has an accelerator in Tel Aviv, and so I was able to bring this company into Citibank's accelerator. And the company, the truth is, they were a bunch of losers. But it was a great opportunity to be in Citibank with the cream of the crop of Israeli technologists. And so I met other great companies, young companies who were there. And one of the great young companies that I met is called Six Gill. And Six Gill is a shark that lives at the bottom of the ocean. And the reason they call their company Six Gill is because they're in the dark web. And we're going to learn in this course about the dark web, where everything's anonymous and nobody can know where you're tuning in from. It was developed by the U.S. Navy in order to support the U.S. spies in, unfriendly countries, that they could communicate on the internet without, giving away their identity. Today, it's become a marketplace for kol mili bishi, for everything bad. So there's there's trading weapons there and drugs and illegal this, and every bad thing is going on in the dark web. But one of the things that companies can do is to go on the dark web and see which credit cards have been stolen, what are the bad guys planning. And so that's what this company Six Gill did. They sort of created a chart of different places in the dark web to help Citibank and other customers be ready and be aware of what's going on in the world of crime. So the founder of Six Gill is my friend. His name is Avi Kashtan. He's a Jew from Chile or Uruguay even, and he made Aliyah to Israel, and he was honored as one of the 10 most innovative and promising digital initiatives of the year by UNESCO. So it was a great opportunity for me to be in the industry of cybersecurity. I went to a cyber threat intel workshop by SANS, a great company, a training company in the US. It was in Washington, D.C. It was really cool and interesting. And my wife and I, over this whole period, we're always looking for opportunities. Where can we train smart Haredim to enter an industry and earn a nice living? And so we thought that cybersecurity might be a good answer. And it took years for us to sort of bring it to fruition and make it happen, but we were right. And there's this great opportunity for smart people who are dedicated to ongoing learning to enter this field and do well in it. Here's a few examples of our CyberWise graduates who are doing great things. And Moshe Senderovitz, the top guy here, he's a Lakewood guy, and now he works on a U.S. Army base in cyber. Tuvia's in Denver, Shaya is here in Yerushalayim. Darren is a salesman. He's not as technical, but he took the course because it upgraded his position, where now he's a salesman for a cyber company, and he's doing better. Esther Weinreb is a seminary girl. I don't think she had a college degree, but she took our course and applied herself and sent out her resume aggressively and got a job with AT&T, is doing really well. Shifra is a really bright woman. She gave birth to twins recently, lives in Israel, and is doing great. Hannah Krzyzanowski is really on our faculty. She's today a CISO. That means she's a Chief Information Security Officer. She's like in charge of the cybersecurity of some companies. Naomi Skar was one of our first students. So we're training talent. We've been doing this. We know what we're doing. So walk with us and we'll go to good places. Why is cyber such a good fit for our community? So like I said, there's a shortage of talent in both in the Israeli, the US, and the international industry. The barrier to entry is really brains. And Baruch Hashem, we're blessed. You don't necessarily need a college degree. A college degree is nice. If you have one, that's great. If you have one in computer science, that's even greater. But if you have nothing, you have a yeshiva background, you went to seminary, or whatever you've been doing, and whatever you've been doing, you're bringing value to the table. But the point is, in cyber, when you're going to go for a job interview, and we'll talk about this later on in the course, they're going to ask you, what do you know and what can you do? And they're going to say, show me. They're going to put your hands on the keyboard and say, hack this, or something like that. So it's a real hands-on profession, really technical, and you're going to learn the things you need to know in order to work in this field. There's a relatively high pay scale after a relatively short education. You can make a lot of money as a brain surgeon, but it'll take you a decade to get there. There's a lot of lucrative fields, but this is a field, again, there's high demand, and the training, the amount of time that it takes to get in, you can really get in after a year. It'll take, again, I don't want to make it sound easier than it is, because it's a journey, but if you dive in, you can do it. A number of our graduates, we're a community that cares about family. We have women, we have mothers, we have fathers. So a number of the women who are doing really well in the field are working flexible hours from home, and even some of them part-time, like 30 hours a week. We have a woman in Belgium doing that. We have a woman in Yerushalayim doing that, working for a New York company. So there are some really flexible things because Lamaisa, it's cyber, right? You don't have to put your hands, you're not meeting a customer or cashing the cash register or fixing a pipe or something. You're sitting at your computer, and therefore you don't have to be in the same place. So there are remote work possibilities. Today, the most common work arrangement is hybrid. You go in once or twice a week, and the rest of the days you work from home. So that's a really great thing. So,
I know you something first.
Here's Rafael. Hi, Rafael. Welcome. Somit in Tel Aviv and Ukraine. Okay. That's my wife, my beautiful wife. And here she is in Tel Aviv with an Israeli guru in the field. And I have here a slide about the war in Ukraine is intensifying the war for tech talent. So again, this just intensifies the need for great cyber talent because a lot of the Ukrainians are still on the run and haven't found themselves. And Ukraine is a source of international talent. Haredi women, you would never guess this, that Haredi women are world leaders in cyber, but they are. The woman who's in charge of the United States of America cybersecurity, I'm muting the foil, is a woman named Hani Neuberger. And she's a Beis Yaakov woman, okay? And here she was in Israel, and this is Chana Krushanovsky, our student, who's today a CISO, and she got to sit at a roundtable meeting with her. So, this is really top level in this field. Here's another from Lady Ger Chassid. Her name is Ola Sergachov. She's from Petersburg in Russia. She's part of our ecosystem. She's VP Corporate Strategy in a good Israeli company called GardiCore. They hire some of our graduates. And so she's also a really smart woman who's done really well in this field. Here's another Hasidic guy who didn't go to high school. He went to Cheder. He's from Haifa. He still considers himself an Avrech. In fact, I think I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you this thing because I haven't shown it for a while. So let me show you this guy. Yisrael Gert is his name, and he's ranked as one of the top hackers in the world by Google. Okay, and there's a lot of learning that you'll do on your own in this. Learning through experimentation. You read things, you try things, and that's how Yisrael Gert got to be, a goyin oilam, a leader in hacking. And today he has his own company, a startup that's raised a bunch of money and doing sales. Let me show you what they do, because it gives a good understanding about the field in general. So let me put that up. They're called reflectees, and I want to show you, they have a really nice thing. Maybe I have to get it on YouTube. There it is. It's called third-party application security. And
say you are a CISO. You successfully protect your website against advanced cyber attacks every day. You use the best security solutions. Firewalls, WAF, IPS. You are fully secured. Or not? Meet your trusted friends, the web third-party components. These components help your company scale its business and technology. Social media, ads and analytics components, engagement tools, authentication apps, even the JavaScript code your developers download from various online sources. These third parties are already installed on your website, dozens of them, and they're managed remotely. Yeah, it means they can be modified without your knowledge and bypass your precious security perimeter. Groups like the MagCard hackers already exploit them, using them to extract business and private data, causing huge breaches and fines. And yet, the accountability is on your side. So, what can you do about all this? You could remove all these essential third parties, or simply use Reflectees. Reflectees monitors your website, identifying the third parties that are already installed on it and analyzing their behavior, verifying that nothing is compromised, and easily helps mitigate your third-party security and privacy risks from day one. And the greatest part? Reflectees is an external platform which requires no installation, saving you costs and unnecessary headaches. With Reflectees, you get full third-party inventory and an effective risk mitigation for your website from day one. So, don't reinvent the wheel. Just use Reflectees.
So I thought that was helpful to understand one of the sort of threat vectors of how it works. People are exposed, they have a website, and the hackers could attack you by getting into your suppliers or somebody who's supplying something to your website. And so again, that's this guy, the Chassidish technology whiz, Yisrael Gert, that's his company. And that's what they're doing to protect people. This slide is about your career. We have here people in the room who are at different stages of their career, different decades of their life. We've had people take the course in their 70s. Recently, a woman completed the course. She's a medical doctor, and she took the course really over 2 years. And she's still looking to start her career in cyber. We have people who are 18 years old, Beis Yaakov girls or yeshiva guys in their 20s. So there's a wide variety of people who are taking the course. We're interested in giving guidance and helping and finding placement opportunities, no matter where you are in the game. Careers used to be like a train track. You got on at a train station and you rode the train for a long time. You retire at 65, you get a gold watch because you worked somewhere for 40 years. It's not like that anymore. There was a bus route career where the bus could, turn left or right and stop at stoplights, but you knew where it was going. Today, the world of careers is like an off-road vehicle. There's no road and you got to steer for yourself. So getting the skills to work in the field of cybersecurity is a really smart investment, because whatever happens, we're going to still need cybersecurity because we're using the internet and it's not going to go away. Who works in the field of cyber? Do I have a chance? I'm coming from sort of nowhere. The answer is that 34% of the field have no prior experience. Others are coming from the intelligence community. They work for the CIA or the FBI or something, or the Mossad, or they work for the military or for the police, or they did fraud research at a commercial company. So there are people like that who will be leaders in the field, but then there's plenty of people coming in from zero. Nobody was born being a cybersecurity specialist. Somebody learned it at some time. So whether you learned it in the Army, in fact, your teacher, Omer Kerner, he learned it in the Army. He was a commander. I'll tell you a little bit more about him later. He was in Unit 81. So that is a way, but he's now teaching to civilians the same way he used to be teaching to soldiers. As I mentioned, there's a shortage of human resources, a human capital shortfall for IT security operations, expected to be approximately 1.8 professionals across various sectors. One of the things I like to share, and again, this comes from our background in career counseling, we use different models for describing people's personalities, and one of them is based on MBTI, but it divides people into 4 basic categories: yellow, gold, red, green, and blue. Gold people are people who like to work in a bank or in accounting. They're detail people. Red people are like hackers. They like to break the rules and be spontaneous. Green people like people, and blue people like research and development. So in the field of cybersecurity today, I'm going to show you there are a great deal of different pathways, different opportunities for all different kinds of people. People who like rules and regulations. There's a whole field in cyber called GRC, which is governance, risk management, and corporate control. So those are people, in order to function and to have credit card services on your website, you have to comply to a lot of regulations. And so there are people whose career it is to keep track of our company and the companies we work with, are they keeping all the rules? So compliance is a profession unto itself. The red teamers are the attackers, but these are good people. They're called white hat hackers because they're not bad guy hackers. They're not breaking the law. Everything is legal. You sign a contract before you start to do what's called a penetration test, where you're attacking your client's website to see where are the vulnerabilities. You'll document them and then give them to the company so they can take action to strengthen their exposure. There's a huge field in cyber for training. The human element is still the weakest link in the chain. People are still clicking on phishing emails and falling for stuff. And so training people to be more alert and what to be careful of is a big part of the industry. So if you're like a teacher, a person who likes to train and explain things to others, there are many opportunities for you. And of course, people who are big thinkers, research and development, there's something called reverse engineering, understanding the malware, how does the virus work, and so forth. Research is a really big part of everything you're going to do in this course. I guess I am going to share another video now because I think it's really good introduction again. So here I go. About different types of people in the field and the different opportunities. So here it comes. Oops. Stop that. And let me share screen.
There's more advanced technology in your phone than it took to get America to the moon. The apps and games of today were the subject of science fiction just 30 years ago. But with technology changing so fast, it can be hard to know what's going to happen next, or where the next threat is going to come from. As someone raised with advanced modern technology, you have experience that experts a few decades ago would never have imagined. And you're going to have opportunities to turn that experience into a profitable career. This presentation is a quick introduction to the growing field of cybersecurity and how to get started on the path to a cybersecurity job. Cybersecurity is usually defined as the use of techniques or skills to protect data, networks, and systems from attack. Everyone knows someone who's been hacked, or has had their identity stolen, or even just lost control of their Facebook for a few hours. And there's always bigger attacks in the news. Data breaches at major companies means that millions of people can have their data stolen and sold on the black market. Hackers can use this data to make money, find more data to sell, or even ruin their victims' lives just for the fun of it. That's where cybersecurity comes in. Cybersecurity experts are the ones who are able to fight cyber criminals on their own turf, stopping them from accessing important information and keeping people safe. There's currently a cybersecurity skills shortage in the United States. There simply aren't enough people to fill all of the available jobs, and the problem keeps getting bigger. See, hackers don't have to be smart. The internet is full of tutorials about how to use pre-made scripts and attacks to wreck someone else's day. Most hackers don't know a lot about computers and don't take time for special training or study. They just grab that pre-made script and go cause a mess. That means there's millions of low-level hackers out there. Cybersecurity experts, on the other hand, are fewer but more valuable. They've taken the time to study a problem and know how to use their talents. That means cybersecurity experts can be harder to find, and they're desperately needed. Think of it this way. Even if an enemy hacker is only level 1, 50 enemies can still overrun a fortress. You need at least one level 50 cybersecurity expert to beat them all. Here are a few of the many kinds of jobs that you might see in the cybersecurity field. Graphic designer. Michelle is an artist. She works for a cybersecurity firm designing posters and creating eye-catching images to teach people about security. Social engineering trainer. Lee is an actor. He understands how to portray emotion and tell a convincing story, so he teaches other people how to tell when someone is lying or trying to scam them. Network security admin. Joe likes puzzles and problem solving. She's good at spotting when something doesn't fit a pattern, so she monitors the computer networks and is the first to see when a hacker is trying to break in. Social media consultant. Hendrik was on Tumblr before anyone else. He always knows what's trending before it even trends, and has seen all the scam emails and messages that get sent around. He works as a consultant, explaining the possible dangers of social media to people who don't know much about it. Ethical hacker. Adam used to want to be a hacker. Instead, he joined up with a security firm and became an ethical hacker, which lets him do the same thing legally. Adam's job is to play the role of cyber criminal, testing targeted systems and seeing if he can break into them. If you think cybersecurity sounds like a good fit for you, then great. You're in for a wild ride with a lot of challenges and opportunities. Here's a few things you can do to start preparing for a career in cybersecurity. Take courses online. There are a lot of online training programs like Coursera. Remember, though, that many programs are scams and don't offer real certifications, so always research the course and double-check with your parents to be sure you're getting a real program. Practice, practice, practice. Play with code and talk to other people who are interested in computers and security. Find a mentor. Ask your teacher or a family member who knows about cybersecurity if they'll mentor you. See if you can arrange a visit to a local technology company and ask about what kind of attacks they have to deal with. You'll hear some good stories. Join a camp. Many organizations offer tech boot camps to teach you the basics of security, programming, and even ethical hacking. Participate in competitions. Challenges such as the Global Cyber Olympics will give you a chance to test your skills against other people of varying skill levels, and prizes include free courses, streaming video, and cash. This skills gap means that you have a very valuable opportunity. Chances are you've grown up with a PC, a smartphone, a tablet, or all three. If you're 18, you could have 12 years of experience using a computer, and that means you already know things that older generations have had to be trained on. And let's be honest, the money can be pretty good too. The one thing that most intimidates people about cybersecurity or any computer job is the idea that you need to know how to program a computer. While understanding and writing code can be very valuable skills, a lot of employers would prefer someone who's smart and willing to learn over someone who can do code and nothing else. Often, the answer is yes. A bachelor's degree in computer science, for example, can be very helpful in understanding cybersecurity. However, if you don't want to go to college, you can still learn a lot of things on your own that will make it easier to break into cybersecurity. Thanks to the internet, you have an incredible amount of information at your fingertips. Today, we went over the basics of cybersecurity and cybersecurity careers. We reviewed what cybersecurity is and why it's a growing industry, as well as a few of the jobs that are open for different skill sets. Finally, we went over what you can do to be a part of the cybersecurity field. Thanks for taking the time for our presentation.
So again, I thought that was really good because it shows different opportunities and again, just background about what it's all about. Let me continue with my presentation. So diverse branches of the cybersecurity industry. Take a look at this very colorful slide. So different cybersecurity domains. If you study accounting, so it's true that in accounting, there's mergers and acquisitions and there's managerial accounting and financial accounting, but a lot of the work is the same as an accountant. In cybersecurity, there's a great amount of diversity. Framework and standards. Again, I talked about compliance, laws and regulations. This is risk assessment, like penetration testing, red team. threat intelligence, reading about various threats, summarizing them and reporting on them, user education, training and awareness, security operations, data leakage, SIMSOC. SOC is an important word. It's a security operations center. Working as a SOC analyst is a really good way to start your career, where you'll be exposed to the kind of stuff that's happening. You'll see the logs, you'll see who's logging into the system, the network, and what are the problems. And there's a tier 1 SOC analyst, tier 2 and tier 3. A lot of our students have gone that pathway. And once you've done that and you've gained familiarity with what's going on, you're able to move up the ladder. Security architecture and others. So my point is that there are many diverse opportunities in the field. I will share with you those 6 particular pathways that till today, most of our students who complete the course and are into it and ready to start a career, so this is where they go. What do our graduates do upon completion of the course? So first, like I just said, a SOC analyst, and it doesn't have to do with the socks you wear on your feet. A SOC is, as I said, Security Operations Center. So we have some companies that we work with in Yerushalayim in Israel around, and also we have 3 or 4 companies in the US who are working with us, and they call us when they need people. And so their entry-level people are usually graduates of our course. And I explained what a SOC analyst does. Sort of in an oversimplified way, they watch the screens, right? And they report on suspicious activity. 2, a cybersecurity researcher, meaning you're going to be researching stuff, reading about it on the internet from various sources, and then collating the information and presenting it to others, to customers or team members. 3, I mentioned before, a GRC specialist, governance, risk, and compliance, making sure that people are keeping the rules. Number 4, incident response. Oy vey, something bad happened. We've been hacked. Now what do we do? So there are people who are experts in dealing with the problem. Should we pay the ransom or should we not, et cetera, et cetera. So that's called IR, incident response. We have people working in that. Number 5, we have pen testers, penetration testing, people who are testing a system to see if they can gain illicit access into it in order to see where the weaknesses are. Number 6, vCISO. V stands for virtual. CISOs is Chief Information Security Officer. If there's a big company, so they really have a CISO. But a lot of companies, if there's 5 or 10 people working in the company, they're not going to have a full-time CISO. They can't afford it, and they maybe don't need it. So you have cybersecurity companies that offer CISO as a service, meaning somebody works for the cybersecurity company and they act as the CISO of half a dozen different companies. And we have a number of our graduates who are playing that role today for some very important companies in Israel and abroad. So those are 6 actual pathways that you may follow upon graduating from this course. I have another video I am going to share about what is hacking and why do we have this problem and why is it not going to go away? And the basic answer is, let me ask you, I'll tell you a story. They asked a bank robber, why do you rob banks? And he said, because that's where the money is, right? So wherever the money is, people are going to go there and try to take it illegally. So if that means to get a gun and hold up a bank, people will do that. But today, it's much better to try to rob a bank online through cyber attacks than to walk into a bank with a gun. If you walk into a bank with a gun, first of all, you might have to shoot somebody, you might get shot. There's a pretty good chance you'll show up on the video camera and sooner or later you'll get caught and go to prison. If you hack a bank, there's a very low likelihood that you will get caught. And yet you can make some really serious money. So I'm not advocating a life of crime or becoming an unethical hacker. I'm just explaining that there will be a lot of people who are doing that. Russia's full of those people. We'll talk about who are the threat actors. There's some countries, Iran and North Korea, the Russians, but they're also just criminals and criminal organizations, just people, losers who are criminals. And then there's also like teenagers who just want to show off and prove they can do it for bragging rights. So hacking is taking advantage of technology for one's personal benefit. And people will do that because there's money to be made in it. It's historically, in fact, it's the largest movement of wealth in history because it's not in the millions or even billions, it's in the trillions. And so there's a lot of money in the world today, and there's a lot of cyber attacks. So cyber security crime, stealing other people's credit cards and bank account and so forth, phishing attacks and every other means that we're going to learn about, is the largest transference of illegal wealth in human history. So it's a big deal, and there's nothing to do about it to make it go away, except to fight it on a practical basis. Each one of us is on the front. Every company is on the front, and so we need to train more people in this fight of essentially good versus evil in order to protect civilization. So let me share a good video about hacking. Let's see this.
Which of these people is most like a hacker? A burglar, a vandal, an inventor, or a spy? The answer completely depends on whom you ask, because the word hacker has taken on all of these meanings and more over the years. But it's the wrong question. It's like asking, is a chisel something you use to break into safes, to deface buildings, or to carve statues? No, the questions we should be asking are, what is hacking and why do people do it? In the broadest possible terms, hacking is creative problem solving that takes advantage of the properties of things in unexpected ways. So when Galileo used curved glass to magnify the stars, that was a hack. Or when NASA engineers saved Apollo 13 with a plastic bag and a roll of duct tape, that was a hack. Of course, usually when hacking comes up, we're talking about computer hacking. But the idea is the same. Computer hacking is just creative problem solving that takes advantage of the properties of computers and networks in unexpected ways. For example, phone providers used to use tones and beeps to get their phones to communicate with their networks. What they did not expect was that hackers would figure out that those tones could be imitated with toy whistles found in Captain Crunch cereal boxes, thereby bypassing the need to pay for the call. So why do hackers hack? Many are driven by intellectual curiosity. They want to learn how a system works to discover its quirks and hidden secrets. They are like cave explorers who venture into darkness and see what they can find. Steve Wozniak, one of the founders of Apple, started out like this. Like many hackers, his early explorations inspired him to start tinkering and inventing. Other hackers are like the security forces who want to defend their fortresses of information. They find the chinks in the internet's armor, like the heartbleed bug, and patch them up before they can be used against you. And of course, there are hackers with less than noble intentions. They can be motivated by greed, fame, rebellion, or the desire to hurt others for cheap thrills. These are the hackers that media stories have taught us to fear. Some of them are brilliant minds gone astray, but many of these so-called hackers are just kids who run programs that they don't understand. Others are criminal syndicates that may know more about cheating and robbing people than creative problem solving. There are also hackers who operate in morally gray areas, who might steal information to expose corruption, or violate privacy in the name of national security. They consider what they're doing just and for the greater good, while others see their actions as dishonorable and wrong. But assigning labels of right and wrong or good and bad to hacking is no more productive than pinning those labels to a hammer. It's how and why the hammer is used, to build or to destroy, that matters, and that you must choose for yourself. Hackers, like hammers, are here to stay, whether we like it or not.
So that was, in my opinion, a really good introduction to hackers and what hacking is. It's a use of technology in unexpected ways and creative ways for one's benefit. And again, you could do that ethically or unethically. This course is about ethical hacking. We're training good guys to fight the bad guys. Let me go back to my presentation. Personality traits for success in cyber: curiosity, love of learning. I can't emphasize that one enough. Ongoing learning is a really key factor because the world of cybersecurity is constantly changing for the reason that we just mentioned. It's bad guys using technology to steal for themselves. So whatever technology is developed, they'll keep trying to do bad stuff with it. So technology, as you know, is developing really, really fast. I mean, I'm from a generation, fax machines were really cool when they came out. I mean, we had calculators in school, like, okay. Um, in short, technology is changing really fast. And so bad guys are going to continue using technology in new ways for bad things. And so the good guys have to keep learning, if not staying ahead of them, at least trying to catch up with them. There's cat and mouse here. So anybody who works in this field, you're going to have to learn a real lot, of course, this year to get your basis and your grounding in the field. But throughout your career in cybersecurity, you have to keep on learning. So if you love to learn and you love new stuff, you've come to the right place. If you want to just, get something simple and then run with it the rest of your life, so it is possible maybe GRC of, where it's more like an accounting thing and keeping track and making sure people are keeping the rules. That's not as technical. And so that's a little bit different. But love of learning is a really key criteria to success. Strategic thinking: if I do this, what will they do? Calm under pressure. Um, Things will not always work the first time you try them. I promise you that. So it says here, the master has failed more times than the beginner has even tried. Somebody said that it's 90% frustration and 10% success. Those are pretty depressing numbers, so I don't know if I want to live by them. But there is a lot of times that when you use technology, it doesn't work. I'm not a big technologist. I mean, technology, I'm earning my living through it on the one hand. On the other hand, I get very frustrated when technology doesn't work. And I feel like, how come the people who created technology didn't make sure that it works? But of course, it's not so simple. Things don't always work. You have to keep trying, use creative problem solving in order to figure out how to make them work. So soft skills like attention to detail, creative problem solving, and clear communications are really helpful. The hard skills of information management, computer science basics, and then specialization in a subset will be really valuable. Industry background, I mentioned, this is Kol haaretz chazit, kol ha'am tzava. Before the Six-Day War in 1967, so that these were signs in the streets in Israel, that everywhere in Israel was the front and every Israeli was in the army. And today the whole world is in that situation. Everybody who has a credit card or a bank account or who goes online is on the front in the war of cybersecurity. And there's cyber war, of course, between Iran and Israel and Russia and the US and Ukraine and everybody else. It's everybody against everybody, essentially. We're in a cyber war. And so becoming an expert in this field is a really valuable and good place to be. And it's something we all need to be concerned with because we're really fighting for civilization, which we can't take for granted, as we've seen. We're actually very lucky we're in Israel. And those of you who are not in Israel, but you're taking a course that comes from Israel, Israel's a world leader in cybersecurity for a lot of reasons. We have a lot of smart Jewish brains. Israel's anything that has to do with war, Israel is at the center of it and the forefront of technology. So Israel could be called the world cyber capital. There's some really astounding numbers here that 33% of the world's cyber unicorns are billion-dollar companies, a third of them are Israeli. That doesn't make any sense. Israel's a tiny country, and yet a third of the cyber giants are Israeli. 41% of cybersecurity firm investment around the world were invested in Israeli companies. Again, that's insane that 40% of world investment in cyber comes to Israel. So we have a really great opportunity. It has to do with the Israeli army, of course, and the Israeli situation, and we're able to sort of reap the benefits of that. So that's good. I have here a brief introduction to different types of cyber attacks. I'm actually going to share another video. They'll explain it better than I do. So let me put that on screen.
Hi, my name's Jenny Martin, and I'm the Director of Cybersecurity Investigations at Symantec. Today, cybercrime causes huge problems for society, personally, financially, and even in matters of national security. Just in the last few years, hundreds of millions of credit card numbers have been stolen. Tens of millions of social security numbers and healthcare records were compromised. Even nuclear centrifuges have been hacked, and unmanned aerial drones have been hijacked. This is all done by exploiting vulnerabilities in hardware and software, or more often by taking advantage of unintentional decisions made by the people using the software. The people committing these cybercrimes don't fit a single profile or motivation. It could be anyone from an international terrorist to a teenager competing for bragging rights. Today, the largest countries not only have a regular army, but also have a well-armed cyber army. In fact, the next world war may not be fought with traditional weapons, but with computers used to shut down national water supplies, energy grids, and transportation systems.
Hi, my name's Parisa, and I'm Google's security princess. I've worked on a lot of different Google products in a lot of different ways to try and make our software as secure as possible. Now let's take a look at how cybercrime works under the hood. We'll learn about software viruses, denial of service attacks, and phishing scams. In biology and life, a virus is an organism that is spread by coughing, sneezing, or physical contact. Viruses work by infecting cells, injecting their genetic material, and using those cells to replicate. They can make people really sick and then spread to other people. A computer virus works a bit similarly. A virus is an executable program that gets installed, usually unintentionally, and harms a user and their computer. It's also possible for a virus to spread itself to other computers. Now, how does a virus get on your computer in the first place? There are a couple ways an attacker can infect someone's computer. They might lure a victim into installing a program with deception about the program's purpose. So, for example, a lot of viruses are disguised as security updates. It's also possible that the software on your computer has a vulnerability, so an attacker can install itself without even needing explicit permission. Once a virus is on your computer, it can steal or delete any of your files, control other programs, or even allow someone else to remotely control your computer. Using computer viruses, hackers can take over millions of computers worldwide, and then use them as a digital army, otherwise known as a botnet, to attack and take down websites. This kind of attack is called a distributed denial of service. A denial of service is when hackers overwhelm a website with too many requests. We call it a distributed denial of service when the attack comes from many computers all at once. Most websites are ready to respond to millions of requests a day, but if you hit them with billions or trillions of requests coming from different places, the computers are overloaded and stop responding.
Another trick used by cybercriminals is to send large amounts of spam email in an attempt to trick people into sharing sensitive personal information. This is called a phishing scam. A phishing scam is when you get what seems like a trustworthy email asking you to log into your account, but clicking the email takes you to a fake website. If you log in anyway, you've been tricked into giving your password away. Hackers can then use your login credentials to access your real accounts, to steal information, or maybe even to steal your money. Fortunately, there are many companies, laws, and government organizations working to make the internet safer. But these efforts are not enough. You may think when a computer system gets hacked, the problem was the security design or the software. 90% of the time a system gets hacked, however, it's not because of a security bug, but because of a simple mistake made by a human.
It turns out there are steps we can all take to protect ourselves. Often, your actions not only impact the security of your own data and computer, but the security of everyone at your school, workplace, and home. With billions or trillions of dollars at stake, cybercriminals get smarter each year, and we all need to keep up.
Okay. Again, I like using these online, these are really nicely produced videos that teach us about the basic of what we're talking about in this field. So let me go on. So she talked about a DDoS, distributed denial of service attack. I'm gonna mute you.
Oh, wait, okay. That's so embarrassing.
There are SQL injection attacks where someone goes into your database and puts bad stuff, defacement of a website, account hijacking, malware. Today, ransomware is a big thing where they send you an email and you click on it and then they freeze all your data, they lock it and say, pay us a lot of money or we're going to either share your data or destroy your data. So there are many different attacks and they're all the time developing. And that's something that people working in the field of cybersecurity are meant to stay up on. And of course, they showed in that they had a quick bubble about things you can do to improve your security online. And that's also something we'll learn in the course. I have something right now I'd like to share with you about that. And that is strong passwords. Passwords matter. Before I entered this field at all, I didn't think it really matters if you have a good or bad password, but it really does. Without the password, the bad guys, nobody else can get into your account. And so they need your password. And you'd be surprised that the most common passwords are still 1234 and QWER and really stupid things like that, or password one. Don't do that. Don't use bad passwords. Not on your email and not on your banking and not on anything. We'll learn in the course there's something called a password manager. That's probably the best thing, to have really hard passwords that, a computer comes up with random stuff to be your password, something that you can't even remember. And you only have to remember your master password. And your master password, you'll make out from a sentence, or there's different ways to come up with a strong master password. But passwords need to be long. Recently in the previous cohort, a young lady gave a presentation about passwords and strong passwords, and she presented the mathematics, which are really interesting, of the number. It has to do with the number of characters in your password. It could be a PIN code. Think about a PIN code that has 4 digits, right? So there's only 9,999 of them. So how long does it take a computer to try all the different possibilities? The answer is instantaneously. So that's like having no password whatsoever. It could be that a website locks you out after three tries. So that's okay. But if your password is just 4 digits, it's very, very weak. Because there's an attack called brute force. Everybody will keep muted, please. Thank you. Brute force in real life means we're going to break the door down with the wrecking ball and get into your house and take your money. In cybersecurity, brute force means trying every possible combination. And again, computers work really fast. But we're going to see in this slide the limitations of how long it takes a computer for a hacker to crack your password. So it depends on the number of characters. Here anywhere from 4 to 18. Let's look in this red zone. Let's say 12 characters in your password. Now, if they're all numbers, there's only 10 numbers, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's not that many combinations. It takes a computer 25 seconds to run through all of them, which is not very long. But if you add all the lowercase letters, there's 26. So now you have 36 distinct characters. If you have upper and lowercase letters, so now you have 62. And if you have numbers, upper and lowercase letters, and symbols, okay? So now, if you have 12 digits in your password, and it includes numbers and letters, lowercase and uppercase, and a $sign or an exclamation mark or a symbol, it would take a computer 34,000 years to try all the possible combinations. That's called a strong password, okay? Because it's not worth it for a hacker to spend 34,000 years trying to get into your account. They'll go to a different account. And that account has, just numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so they'll get right in. So having strong passwords matters. And so you have to come up with a way of thinking of things. Maybe it's your grandparents' address, and maybe you'll mix up the numbers and the letters. Or, you have to come up with ideas. Here, I gave you an idea here. This password is Kal V'chomer ben beno shel Kal V'chomer, okay? And you don't write that anywhere on your computer. You give a reminder to yourself called the Yud Gimel Midos. And so you remember, oh, the Yud Gimel Midos, Kal V'chomer ben beno shel Kal V'chomer. But I've changed the L's to exclamation marks. And instead of using the letter O, I'm using the number O and so forth. I've replaced some of the stuff. And it's a very long password. So it's a very powerful password. It's not really one of my passwords, so don't try it. Anyway, strong passwords are really important. And a password manager is really the best thing to have. Cybersecurity, Baruch Hashem, we're sort of past COVID. We hope, some people still get sick, but it's not a pandemic like it was. The pandemic really, for a lot of fields, it was really bad. For cybersecurity, it helped our business, okay? Because there was more hackers, they had more time on their hands. Some people lost their jobs and went into hacking. And so COVID was pushing further in the direction of cybersecurity. This is sort of a humorous thing. Who led the digital transformation of your company? Was it the CEO or the CTO is the Chief Technology Officer? But the truth is, a lot of companies only had to sort of toe the line and improve their cybersecurity because of COVID, because there were people working remotely. So now there was room for hackers to get in and steal data because of the remote access to the company's servers and so forth. So COVID, as I said, was a driver in further growing the need for cybersecurity in the industry. One of the things that I'll encourage you to do throughout this year and the course, and something that we'll share on the Slack channel. I've invited everybody to the Slack channel. If you're in the course and you didn't get an invitation, let me know, send me an email. But that is sharing articles, staying up to date through industry newsletters. I get a lot, I try to share them, certain websites, conferences. There's real life conferences and it's worth going to them. There's stuff in Tel Aviv, there's stuff in New York. Recently, we had a bunch of our students and graduates participate in like a cyber sort of hackathon type of thing, and they won cash. They went and they hacked and they won, and they came home really happy that they had cash in their pockets. So it's really good to enter the ecosystem, meet the people. The people maybe are nerdy, but they're nice to each other because we're fighting a common front. So it's actually, people are helpful in the field. So that's good place to get information. It's a market driven by regulation. I talked a little bit about this when I talked about GRC, governance, risk and compliance. Companies have to comply with GDPR is a European law, but PCI, in order to have credit card stuff on your website, you have to comply with rules. If you're a publicly traded company in the US, there's something called SOX laws. If you're a medical doctor, a hospital, there's HIPAA laws. Any product wants to have an ISO, 2700 regulation or standard. So companies need to comply with these standards, and it is cybersecurity experts who help them to comply. So the hackers are one of the drivers for business, but the compliance and regulation is another business driver. Talking more specifically now about this course and what our expectations are. The classes will not be like this class, okay? Because as I said, I'm not technical. I'm teaching you about the field and about the course. But the next week will be the first real class that Omer will teach, and it'll be technical. You'll learn about the computer in the very first class. So the class is predicated on attendance, which means here on Zoom. Everybody, as I said, should have an invitation to the Slack channel and the Google Classroom. We expect you to participate in 80% or more of the classes. If you know you can't be there on a given Sunday, you have a simcha or something to do, please let me know in advance. There's homework, more or less every week, but research, there's for sure every week. Sort of starting from today, every day you should spend some time researching and learning more about cybersecurity. And we will give you directions. I'm going to give you some today, and we'll keep giving you more. But there's just an ocean. It's like, lahavdil, yam shel Talmud. It's like learning Shas. There's a world of information, and the more you know and the more stuff you can do, the more valuable you'll be in this profession. So ongoing online research is a really big part of your future. There will be some tests over the course of the year. There are 3 projects. There's what's called a Python project. Python is a computer language which is used particularly in this field. It's not writing extensive computer programs, but scripts to get the computer to do what you want it to do in terms of cracking a code or just doing stuff. So we spend like 3 weeks learning Python, and then you'll make your own program using Python. That's in like the 14th week of the program. There's an InfoSec project where you do some research or something about information security. And there's a final project where people create, some hacking thing or research on some aspect of the industry and present their findings online. And it's some very impressive stuff. We had a young woman a year or so ago. She hacked her way into a cell phone for her final project. It was very impressive. Today she's working in the field as a pen tester. So that was great. Soft skills training, that's something I mostly take responsibility for that. I have a presentation about how to write your CV, how to conduct yourself at your job interview, how to use LinkedIn to help yourself get a job. So that's something that we will be teaching you over the course of the year. And it really works. Okay, if you learn the tricks of the trade, you understand how to play the game, and then you're persistent, so you'll get where you want to go. For some students, particularly in Israel, we have companies that will offer you an internship, which, the downside is it could be unpaid internship, you're working for free. The good side is that you're learning you're really doing the stuff in real life situation and getting hands-on training for a month or 2 or 3, and then they hire you. So internship is a good way to go. There are paid internships, and it's something, when you'll Google jobs in cybersecurity, and you could put internships in, and you'll see that there are paid and unpaid internships. And I can't emphasize enough, we're in this to place you, okay? If you're just curious about cyber, so there's plenty of resources online. Go ahead and, just study about it. If you came here to this course of CyberWise, you should be focused on getting placed at the end of, I'm going to work in this and earn a living. And so we're committed to that, to helping you do that. And that's really what it's about for us. Here I have a slide called our covenant. And my concept is there's no magic. Okay, it is not magic. We can open doors. Again, we're going to teach you a real lot of stuff. We can't teach you everything you need to know. You have to do a lot of learning on your own, but we will give you the foundation, the basis that you need. But you got to deliver the goods, okay? So we can set you up even in job interviews or have, there's a plan. I'll tell you something that just happened in the last few days. The Israeli Reshut HaMisim, that's the tax authority, they're opening up a new SOC, a Security Operations Center, and they want it to be staffed by Haredi women. So one of the guys who's responsible for that turned to us, to my wife, and said, okay, bring us candidates. So we today sent 6 candidates to work for the Israeli government in a SOC. That's a great position. It's nice to work for a government. It starts as a student job, et cetera, et cetera. My point is, I can't actually get those girls the job. I can tell them about the opportunity. I can help them write a CV, but they'll go to a job interview. And if they act foolishly or if they don't know how to do this stuff, it's not going to help, okay? It's like shidduchim. We can set you up on a date, but you got to, seal the deal. You got to make it happen. So ultimately, it will be you and your responsibility to deliver the goods, but we're going to give you a lot of skills, a lot of knowledge that you need in order to really do it. And again, our success is proved by our many, many graduates who are really doing it. I have news for you about your best friend. Who's your current best friend? Is it your spouse? Is it a parent, a child, your friend, your chavrusa, your teacher? Your new best friend as of, if not today or tomorrow, but coming in the coming weeks, Google. Any question you have, not only about cybersecurity, about anything, Google it. And don't ask me or ask Omer or ask anybody until you Googled it. Because why should you waste my time asking me something that you could very simply ask Google and see the answer? So always Google it before you ask somebody else. It's a great cloud in life today. Really, Google knows everything. There's, the collective information of all of mankind is on the internet. So you gotta do research. It's not that hard. Any question you have about any topic, just put it into Google and see what you get, and that'll lead you in a certain direction. And it could be you won't get the final answer, so then you need to ask something. But then you could say, okay, I Googled this and this is what I found. I still have the following question. And that's a much stronger question. That's a better question. So your new best friend is Google. You should live happily ever after. And I must tell you, I myself use it in everything. I told you that I did a triathlon, and 2 weeks after it, I Googled how long does it take to recover from, a half Ironman. And I learned a lot by Googling it. It takes almost a month. And so that's why I feel the way that I do. So any question you have, you got to Google it. Your new identity. Okay, cybersecurity in this course, it's not something you do in your spare time or Berech Agav. No, it's the new you, okay? And the new you, I'm going to teach you a Hebrew word, and I'll bet the Americans have never heard this word. The word is fighter, or for the feminine form, fighterit, okay? And it means a fighter, okay? And we have Haredi women who have taken the course, and they are fighteriot. They're real fighters because they have a big family and they want to support their husband in learning or whatever. Maybe their husband also works. But the point is, they're playing for keeps. They really are serious about their professionalism. And that's what people are looking for. Like we've had meetings with, people who are head of the bank's cybersecurity. And they're like, bring me people, but bring me serious people. I need fighterim. I need fighters because I'm under attack. So you are entering a field of warfare. You're sort of like a hired soldier from now on. So you have to sort of have that mindset of fighting. And you don't have to be nasty, but you have to have strategic thinking of what am I going to do? What are they going to do? It's like a chess game. And it's us against the hackers. And so you want to develop that type of thought process. You want to be serious about it. You want to be tough and strong. And the whole job market, I'll talk to you more about that when we talk about your CV. But you always want to be using strategic thinking of what can I do to get ahead? Because you got to take care of yourself and take care of your financial future. And if you make yourself into a fighter and you're ready to do what you need to do to fight, to play, to win, so that's the way you want to be. You don't want to be weak. You want to be strong.
Pinch out for bigger.
Secret weapon.
Okay.
Because religious
Yeah, Ella, I'm going to mute you. There you go. Thank you. So being a fighter is a great thing. We have a great program, and I encourage you to already invest a little bit of time in this. And we call it Cyber Stars, where we take people from the industry or our own graduates, and we give them time at the end of class, usually at 9:30, to tell their story, how they got here, what they're doing now, and to inspire and guide you in your journey. So like I said, you could Google that, CyberStars, CyberWise course, and you'll find it on our website. We also have a number of them, and that's really valuable because it's not an easy path. And if you get encouragement from others who have done it, that's very helpful. I want to talk to you. I said I was going to take a break, but I'm almost finished. I'm not going to give a break. We'll go for a few more minutes, and then that'll be that for tonight. So what I want to talk about now is another important aspect of your career management, and that is the certification pathway. We, of course, we provide a certificate, a diploma, to those who complete all the requirements of the course. I mentioned the attendance, the assignments, the homework, the tests, and the final project. But at the end of the day, we're a small operation, right? So no one knows our name internationally. We of course don't claim that. But in this field, there are a number of companies who provide internationally recognized certification. And that's what you want to have. You want to have these on your resume. So it's something you could start today, or you could start when you finish the course, or it's somewhere in the middle. But there are certifications. Right now I'm focusing on a particular company called CompTIA, okay? And CompTIA has a certification called A+, which is about the computer hardware. And I have here a fat book that prepares you for CompTIA A+ certification. I'm going to read you the contents at a glance. Safety and professionalism, the visible computer, CPU, that's the central processing unit of your computer, RAM, the memory, firmware, motherboards, power supplies, mass storage technologies, implementing mass storage, essential peripherals, building a PC, Windows under the hood, users, groups, and permissions, maintaining and optimizing operating systems, working with the command line interface, troubleshooting operating systems, display technologies, essentials of networking, local area networking, wireless networking, the internet, virtualization, portable computing, understanding mobile devices, care and feeding of mobile devices, printers and multifunction devices, securing computers, operational procedures, etc. So those are the chapters of the A+. It sounds like a lot, but the truth is it's a rather easy test. And I'm not going to say you should take the test because it's such a basic test that it doesn't really help you in your career. But I do think you should master the topics in the A+ test. And so that's something you could do this week. I mean, you don't have homework this week because I just gave an introduction and overview of the course, but I will give you some guidance now of sort of what to think about and look at in order to prepare for the first class, which is about the computer itself, the memory, the storage, and this and that. And that's the A+ CompTIA certification. After that, there's something called Networking Plus, which is CompTIA's networking certification. And that's something you should consider taking. And again, you'll Google it and you'll see what it involves. It's understanding all about computer networks. Duh, that's why it's called networking. And after that, they have something called Security Plus, which is more advanced about information security. And then you see here in this graphic, they have a Server Plus, a Linux Plus, a Pen Test Plus, etc. So there's a lot of people, the professionals that work in the field, every year they get a new certification. So like I said, it's ongoing learning forever. But CompTIA is just one company. There are other companies that offer international certification. Some of them are harder than others. One's called Offensive Security. One's called the EC Council. So there's a number of different pathways. You should Google it and read about, valuable cybersecurity certification pathways, and it'll compare different pathways. They cost about $300 to take them. You could go to a center to take them in person, but most of them today can be taken at home. That you have to say you're not going to cheat and so forth, and you can't cheat, but you could actually take them at home. So certification will be an important part of your proving your value to potential employers by having these letters after your name. And again, it's for real. You really have to learn how to do stuff in order to get these certifications. So that is something to realize and recognize and to begin to think about actually doing. So as I said, some of our students pass the Networking Plus or the Security Plus while they're still in the course. Others do it after the course, and some never do it. So it's not like you must have a certain certification in order to work in the field. It's just not true. There are people working in the field who don't have it, but it's certainly nice to have and something valuable to get, and gives you a specific milestone and a goal to focus on a certain date in the summer or whatever. I plan to take a certain certification exam that helps you, focus and study intensively for that milestone in order to pass. I sent in the welcome email. I talked about textbooks. I like textbooks. The course is not based on a textbook, but if you like having a textbook, then I recommend getting one. So this is the one I just showed you about the A+. I mean, I don't really think you need to get that textbook, but here are textbooks that are more relevant for the CEH, which is a Certified Ethical Hacker. And these are from two different companies. They're both valuable books. And if you would spend time and really do all the exercise in this book, you'll know a real lot of stuff. And again, this is basically what you're going to learn in the course. So you don't have to buy these books. But if you, as I say, you like to work from a book, so this is not a bad investment. One of the things, again, we're going to teach you a lot in this course, but you're expected to learn a lot outside the course. So I have on the Slack workspace, you saw one of the channels is called resources. And your teacher and I will put some stuff there, but I encourage you also to put things there. If you find a good teacher on the internet or a source of information, so share that in the resources channel. There's this guy named Professor Messer, and I think I'm gonna show also this Professor Messer's thing. So let me put that up. Okay. Stop share, make sure. Okay, yes.
Probably interested in the CompTIA A+ certification, and why wouldn't you be? Because it is one of the most popular IT certifications in the world. It's commonly used to introduce people to information technology or to provide people with a way to show that they know the skills required to get a job working in IT. This is a great starting point in the industry, and if you look at job postings in your area, you'll probably see a number of jobs where an A+ certification is a prerequisite or a requirement for getting that position. The A+ certification is managed by CompTIA, or the Computing Technology Industry Association. Not only is CompTIA one of the largest providers of IT certifications, their certifications are also vendor neutral. This means that the information in the exam objectives is not specific to a single vendor, but instead covers many different vendors across IT. CompTIA members include manufacturers, resellers, training organizations, and anyone else who would be interested in making sure that we have a solid foundation of IT professionals. The CompTIA certifications are recognized around the world, and you'll find their exams are available in many different languages. I'm James Messer, and this is the first video in my A+ series available on ProfessorMesser.com or on the Professor Messer YouTube channel. My experience is almost exclusively in information technology, going back to supercomputer operations, hardware troubleshooting, networking, and cybersecurity.
Monday.com makes GANs great again. Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to say again because they never were. And
Okay, annoying advertisement, but that's really what I wanted to show you. Okay, so Professor Messer is a really great resource. He teaches a lot of stuff that we're going to cover in the course, so it's really good supplemental resource. Okay, I showed you today some of the videos that we show were from the Khan Academy. The Khan Academy is great resource. It's like free high school, whatever, very basic intro. But I would encourage you, again, this week, you'll be finished maybe with most of this stuff pretty soon. But right now, what is the internet, IP addresses, and the domain name server, DNS? There's a lot of valuable information here, which you can get in a very short amount of time. I would use some of my time this week to learn through Khan Academy. Again, you could Google it or use the links here, and it's a good source of information. This is a joke, some jokes. This is one of my favorite jokes about tech support is actually a way into the industry. People working as an IT support person, you're exposed to networking and routing and dealing with some issues that come up. But I love this. Somebody's computer is totally black, right? And the customer service says, is it plugged in? And the customer says, duh, yes. Do you think I'm an idiot? Of course it's plugged in. But look how it's plugged in. It's plugged into itself, right? There's obviously no power. So that's why his computer is totally black. And this one says, tech support, the problem is located somewhere between the keyboard and my chair, right? There's a lot of idiots out there. And that's just life. Okay. I'm wrapping up now, sharing with you our faculty here. Our senior lecturer is a guy named Leo Huskevich. He's a Mexican Jew who lives in Israel. He's a red teamer. He already has a new job after Palo Alto. Shimi Herbst is a SOC analyst in Muncie. Shalom Banunu is an experienced commander from Shmone Matayim, from Unit 8200, one of Israel's cyber units. Hannah Kay, I mentioned her. She's a VCISO, and she works for us, Content and Employment Advisor. She's our graduate. Deborah Erlinger is also our graduate. She today works with us in recruitment. She's working in cyber research for CyberWise. Yuda Bassner is like our bursar. He's going to be in contact with you regarding setting up your tuition payments. So please cooperate with Yehuda. Hannah Ratner, she's the boss. She's my wonderful wife. And I am the educational director. I'm always here for you. Again, not on technical questions. Don't ask me. I don't know the answer. But if you have questions, first of all, I ask that you let me know if you're not going to be in class, and keep me updated if you have an issue or a problem or something that's going on. I really care about helping people use the course to get ahead in life. That's really meaningful to me. So please use that, and let's make this work together. The teacher that's going to begin the year, his name is Omer Kerner, and he actually, again, he's a IDF Cyber Commander instructor. That's in his past. Today, he's a medical student. He's actually a doctor now. He's in the hospital right now, working in stage as an intern. And so that's why I'm not sure he's going to teach the whole year, but he's our greatest teacher. He's a really wonderful and warm individual who really cares about his students. He's really, really smart. This is not a picture of him, though it could be. Unit 81 is a top secret technology unit. It's been around before Kumam Dina. We don't even know what they do. You can't ask Omer what he did in the army, but he was in this unit and he learned cybersecurity there and taught other people cybersecurity there. So he's great at doing that. Okay, at this stage, I'm ready to take any questions about your year or any technical, or I mean, not technical, but, specific questions about the program. And otherwise, then I will let you go. And we will meet again. I send out a link every week, a few hours before class. We're in touch all during the week on Slack. Assignments are put up in the Google Classroom. So that's the story, the long and the short of it. I know some of the people here have not made a final decision whether they're enrolling in the course or not. So you're welcome to be in touch with myself. I'll put in the chat here just so everybody can see. My email address is jrselmet@gmail.com. I'll give you my WhatsApp, 972-5854-5634. So feel free to reach out to me. Again, I'm here to work with you. This is what we do. We care really a lot about it. We care about you. We want to make it work. So any questions? You've been a very, very quiet group, I must say. It's okay with me. I knew what I wanted to say. It's nice in class with Omer. If you do turn on your camera, he will invite you to ask questions and to participate. It's better for everybody if you do. It's better for you and better for him if it's lebendig, if it's alive. And again, today was different. It was just an introduction and overview. But in the course, I highly recommend to speak up, ask questions, present yourself, and so forth, to be there. Like everything else in life, what you take out of it will be what you put in. So if you just show up every week, and you sit there and whatever, and that won't do it. You have to really invest and give it your best and give it your all. And if you do that, then you can really begin something wonderful for yourself and your family. We'll be getting advice about which certifications are worthwhile to take based on a specific interest. Yes. That's something throughout the year as you begin to see what your interests are in the field. So then we will talk about that, and you feel free to ask Omer and me. And yes, we will talk about that as we go through the year. So thank you, Chaya. Okay. If nobody else has anything, then I wish you guys all a really good week. And I do suggest begin your online research already now. I'll put more stuff into the Slack, but look at the Khan Academy stuff. Google, A+, CompTIA certification. So again, Moti Rabin asks, will we receive internationally recognized certificate at the end? So I tried to explain that a little bit. I'll explain again. We are a small, we're a small group, right? We have 50 or 80 students a year. we are what we are, and we will give you a certificate that says that you studied a course of 400 hours, etc. And we have a bunch of companies that know us and respect that. So you will have a lot of clout as a graduate of Somit's CyberWise course. But are we internationally recognized? We are not. So that's why we are channeling you and training you to take an internationally recognized certification like a CompTIA, like the EC Council. There's something called JPT. There's a whole bunch of them, and we'll guide you in them. That should be your goal, in my opinion, towards the end of the course, to get an internationally recognized certificate. So that's the answer to that question. Okay. With that, I'm wrapping up. What would be the recommendation for which to study at this point? Should it be the A+? Yes, I think you should start this week. Look at the A+, and master that. Spend time on it this week. Again, there's not that much there, but you'll get exposed to the beginning of networking, which is really 2 or 3 weeks of this course, and something that you will always use. Networking is really important. All of cybersecurity is based on the internet and the networks that we have in our businesses. And so you can't overdo it on networking. So anything you learn about networking is really valuable. So again, I say give it a day or 2 or 3 or a week on the A+, but then move forward onto networking, okay? And that'll be a good pathway for you. I personally wouldn't recommend even that you spend the money to take the A+, but I think, again, to see what's on it, to know that you could pass it is good. Can you give us an overview of what the classes will be like? How much we teaching, learning ourselves, breaks, etc. So I'd rather let Omer do that next week. He gives, I think, 3 breaks over the 5 hours, but he's really flexible. So you'll decide between you. But most of that 5 hours, you're watching Omer's screen. There's a slide presentation like mine, and he's presenting stuff. It's just much more technical. So he's writing stuff on the screen, showing commands and this and that, and then he's giving maybe an exercise that you're doing, and that's how the class is really like. Okay. So again, no pressure. If people haven't made a final decision, they could come again next week. If you really want to do that, that's okay with us. We're really flexible. Okay. Thank you. Welcome. Okay, friends, I am calling it a night. I'm wishing you bracha be'atzlacha and looking forward to seeing all of you who are here next week. As I said, we'll be in touch over Slack. Hi, Shira.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Call too. Bye-bye.
Awesome.
Shalom, shalom.